Lord, I'm tired from all this stressing, too weak to count my blessings. Ain't got time for window dressing, just trying to keep my soul intact. I've been running hard, feet on fire, dreams and duty tangled in wire. But when my strength starts slipping away, I still hear your voice say, don't grow weary in well-doing. Get those problems off your chest. Cast your cares on my shoulders, and I'll give you rest. I'll give you rest. These bills don't pay themselves, and my prayers pile up on a shelf. But even in my weakest hour, you remind me I still got power. I've been down, but never out. Grace gon' lift me, I got no doubt. Even when my tears won't dry, you whisper peace inside my cry. Don't grow weary in well-doing. Get those problems off your chest. Cast your cares on my shoulders, and I'll give you rest. I'll give you rest.
All right, my brothers and sisters, welcome back to Misfit Island. This is where we all gather, right? We gather here to prepare for perilous times as we walk in this world full of deception. And if you watched me Monday, sorry, I got sidetracked. And I want, cause I just keep seeing all over the social pages, people trying to tell you that the church is going to go through the plagues of the book of Revelation. So if you missed it, you might want to go back on it. Because we're going through the book of Revelation, and I got sidetracked, and I went into this whole thing, proving through scripture. It's clearly taught there's going to be a group of people who will never see death, and there's two events, that Jesus comes back in the clouds on one, and he comes back to the earth on the other. I don't want to go at it again. That wasn't my intent, and I'd actually spent an hour on it. If you're interested in that, go back and check it out. So anyways, this is where we come. I don't know, it's just, we're going through, we go through scriptures daily, and we're reading the word, and we're just trying to stick with what God's saying. I'm not coming here and, giving all this, trying to build this little doctrine with you with all this, I'm just kind of going through each book and reading, and we're trying to extract what he's saying and figure out what he's saying and apply it to our lives. And we're going through the book of Revelation, where you are getting ready to start in chapter 9. We've already went through we went through the 7 seals, where Jesus opened each seal, and you see, and my whole thing on that is I'm trying to point out that it's not the rapture happens, and and people talk about there's might be a little time of a gap, or the 7 year starts right away. That I've gone through each one of those seals, and I think I've clearly pointed out, just by the physicality of what's going to take place on earth, that those things do not happen at the same time the things of the last 7 years. The prophecy of Daniel, and the 70 weeks of Daniel, and the Jewish nation has already went through the 69 weeks, and there's a gap period in between the 69th week and the 70th week, and there's a difference between the church age, this gap period, and then this last 7 years, the things that goes on from chapter 4. Up until, where we, like what we read in 7, where it starts the 7 years, but it's like an overview. But all those events that take place, they don't coincide with each other. There is no peace on earth, Israel rebuilding their temple, and they're worshiping, and then, you got, a quarter of the world dying at the same time. They don't go together. So my whole point, purpose, is like, when I try to put the book together and try to figure it out. I figured out that it's literally, it's chronological. It's individual judgments. There's a huge gap period. I believe just by typology and patterns, God, script, and there's the terms for it. The way the Jews look at prophecy, and the way, I guess, us, the Gentiles, look at prophecy, and we look at prophecy. And there's the names for it. I don't know, but we look at it like somebody says something and it happens. The Jews, the way they look at prophecy, they look at it as patterns. and you look at all the patterns to all the New Testament, even through the New Testament, that, you know, there's definitely going to be a gap period, and I believe this minimum 7 years, could be up to 40. If you put a 40-year gap, I know, because you can see the beast system, you can see how they can control people, and AI, it can't go any much longer, and you know, you see all that now. You know, just like people when I would imagine people see World War II, they're like, this is it. The rapture, the revelation is happening right now. I mean, you know, I think every group of people in their time slot here on Earth, they see events that take place in their time. They're saying the rapture's right around the corner, and well, maybe the people don't even believe in that, and they think that the revelation is going to happen. The end of the days are here. You know, and just because we can see the what might be the beast system being built right now, that means the 7 years is right around the corner. You know, but if you put a 4-year gap into all the prophecies of, like, you know, burning the weapons for 7 years, the Jewish nation are in tranquility, and you know, they tear down their walls, and the world's not against them anymore. And the people believe this. You know, I mean, how long is it going to take for the people of the world today to actually believe that the people in the world don't want to kill them? Time, right? So all these things that got to take place, they try to fit it in 7 years. There's no way it can fit in 7 years. And you can go back and watch those videos. I really pointed out. But the key in the Book of Revelation, chapter 1. He says, if you read this book and you hear this book, I promise you a blessing. You're going to be blessed. And at the end of the book, he says, if you subtract or add to this book, I'm going to subtract you from the book of life, or I'm going to add the plagues to you of this book. So I'm trying not to add and subtract to this book at all. So we went through the 7 seals, and then we went through the first 4 trumpet judgments. So chapter 7 was an overview chapter. We've seen tribulation, or the 12 tribes of Israel was sealed. And we'll see later on, chapter 14, Jesus literally comes down and takes them to heaven with him. They're the first fruits. And they follow Jesus everywhere. What? Yeah, Jesus comes back 3 times. And they're all, this guy's blasphemy. We're reading it. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to prove it to you through God's word. I'm not adding or subtracting. And then at the end of 7, he goes to what happens at the very end, the tribulation saints. The great tribulation saints. 2 groups of, there's like 4 groups of saints. You got the Old Testament saints that ends with the Apostle Paul, John the Baptist. And then you got the church. We are the bride that's going to reign and rule with Christ. We're going to be kings and priests. And then you got the first group of tribulation saints. I think that group is going to die on the red horse, because the white horse is going to try to bring back order out of chaos. This leader He's given us authority. Somehow he comes up. I believe Elon Musk could fit that horse easily, because he's got all the technology and the ways and means to try to bring the world back into order. And the red horse, because of the people that realized that was the rapture and the Bible is real and Jesus is real, and these crazy Christians, what they were saying was the truth, and they're going to go around and tell the rest of the world this truth. And this new rider comes along, the red horse. He's going to hate that. The world don't want to hear that. They don't want to repent of their ways. So they're going to kill it. They're going to go out and kill the Christians. I think at that point they're going to kill it, because the Jewish nation they're in Ezekiel 37. The dry bones are going back. They're going into Israel. All the Jews are going. It's still in process. They're going to go back to Israel in unbelief. And at that point, you can see how he words it. And the ones that die, that's the people that become Christians. It's not the Jewish nation is not included in that group. That's your first group of tribulation saints. And you already see in chapter 5 that there's a group up there that was redeemed by Jesus' blood. Those are the ones that are going to become kings and priests. That's the church that's already in heaven. 6:5, the fifth seal. That's the first group of tribulation saints. It's the Christians, or the tribulation. Not the Christians. They're tribulation saints, but they're believers now, and they're going to die for their faith. Jesus says, "Hang on. There's another group coming after you that's got to die too." And that's what you see in 7, just this great tribulation saints, and that's where you see the Jews and the Christians. And it points it out because it says, later on it talks about the ones that hold their commandment and the ones that believe in Jesus. Or maybe that was I don't know. It says it several times. Anyways, then chapter 8. it went into they're called the Judgment of the Thirds. There's the first 4 trumpet judgments, and then the 4th angel, he said, John said, I looked and heard an angel flying. So there's another angel who's flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice. So after all this happens, he's telling these people, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth because of the remaining blast of the trumpets of the 3 angels who are about to sound. So we're getting ready to go into, what is this? This will be the 11th. We're getting ready to go into the 12th individual judgment. I believe it's an individual judgment on earth after the church is raptured out of here. And the church is gone, and now the whole point and purpose of the book of Revelation is to bring the Jewish nation back and to bring them to the end of themselves. They're stiff-necked unbelief, and they're going to open their eyes, and they're going to realize that Jesus was the Messiah. And you see in the Old Testament prophecies, and the New Testament says they're going to pray for Jesus to come back. And that's why you see the world and the spirit of Antichrist wanting to kill the Jews today, because I guess the beast and these demonic beings, they believe, these fallen angels believe that if they can kill all the Jews, then God's promise to the Jewish nation and his word is not true, and they win the war, I guess, somehow. The war of words. I don't know. I really don't know why they believe they can win this battle. I think the spiritual, again, you see in the end of the 6th seal, that I believe the spiritual realm is now open, and now man and fallen angels and demons are amongst each other and visible. It's a visible. They know of each other, and that's so the spiritual realm is going to be opened up, and now we're going to see some of the fruit of the spiritual realm that's going to be cast onto mankind. Are you ready? Chapter 9, the book of Revelation, the 5th trumpet, the locusts from the bottomless pit. Then the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven to the earth. To him was given the key of the bottomless pit. So again, some stars are talking about stars, and other stars are talking about angels. So this angel has this key. There's a key given to him. It's a key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit. Now, some people say this star would be Satan himself, and he's given the key to go down to the bottomless pit. I don't know. And he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke arose out of the pit. And here's another problem. People that teach the book of Revelation, they're teaching it like all this stuff's allegorical, or they're trying to this means this and this means that. No, I think it's literal. There's a literal bottomless pit. There's a literal angel that's going to go down with the key, and he's going to unlock it, and there's literal smoke coming up. It's literal. Stuff is literal, unless it tells you otherwise. Smoke out of this great furnace, so the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke, locusts came upon. So again, he's talking about these 3rd woes coming, right? And then we know the 2nd woe happens after the midway point of the last 7 years. Again, church is gone. There's a gap period. And then the last 7 years will be the Daniel's prophecy, or the 70th week of Daniel. It's last 7 years, and we know that the 2nd woe is going to take place. So all these, and I said 7. You see the beginning of the 7-year period. He'll give you like an overview, broad spectrum picture. Then I'll come back and give you more details. So I think we have the broad view that the angels, the fallen angels and demons and humans are all existing together now. We see at the end of the 6th seal. And then you see he gives you this overview of what's going to take place at the beginning of the 7 years, and the overview of what's going to take place at the end of the 7 years. And then he goes into the 7th seal, the silence in the heaven. I think everybody's like, whoa, here it comes, man, here it comes. God uses it's God's wrath. It says. So somebody told me, said people confuse Satan's wrath with God's wrath. And they say the last 3.5 years is God's wrath. What does it say? It says back here. Where was it? I don't know if it's in 5 or maybe 6. But basically it says that Jesus is going to pour his wrath. I can't find it. Singing the song. Open the seal, saying, voice like thunder, look, and the wild white horse. Eesh. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow and I can find it. But there's a back here. It talks about it's Jesus is going to pour his wrath. So the first six seals, God is still, the earth is still, I don't think the fallen angels are here yet. The earth is still like it is today. He's going to be using men to pour his wrath out on men. He's going to be using men to bring fruit, his prophecy, his promises. Now you see that the angels are involved. So he's using angels now. At the end, you see God's using angels, but it's where he's going to pour his wrath. And I think all that takes place at the end of the 7 years, because some of the things that he does, mankind can't live on earth how that happens. So anyways, somewhere back here it talks about, this guy was, it's the wrath of Satan, and that doesn't happen until chapter 13. We're going to go back, and that's after the first 3.5 years, where Satan pours his wrath. Is Satan messing with us and causing trials and tribulations? Yes. But pouring his wrath, I don't think he has that authority yet. So anyways, maybe he's giving his authority right now. I guess this could be considered part of his wrath, because this is not going to be good. Are you ready? Let's continue. So then out of the smoke, locusts came up upon the earth, and to them was given power. So now these things are in the bottomless pit. They're probably there right now. These demonic horde of locusts. It's not little locusts. These are demons. They're being held in the middle of the earth, and now they're going to be given power. As the scorpions of the earth have power. They were commanded to not harm the grass and the earth. Well, it's like another way of telling you it's not literal locust. Because, they don't harm, that's what locusts normally do. They harm the earth and the grass. Or any green thing, or any tree, but only those men who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. So, at this time, when this goes on, there's going to be men on earth that have the seal of God in their foreheads, and these demons cannot touch them. So I don't know if that's, we see here that the tribes of Israel, they're all sealed, but you see in 14 that Jesus comes and takes them, and they're the first fruits, and they serve the Lord. They follow him everywhere. So at this point, maybe the people are still going around. I believe this. So I guess, when these things, I would imagine every time these events take place, there's going to be a group of people that realize that Jesus is real, the Bible is real, and God is real, and these are judgments. We're in the book of Revelation. They're reading Revelation. They probably know exactly some of these things that we really can't figure out. We're just speculating what they are. They know exactly because they're living it. So I would imagine all throughout there's people being saved, or repenting and saying, Jesus, I believe you are God. And they're sealed. So those people during this time is sealed. They're going to end up dying for their faith again later, right, in the Great Tribulation. But they're sealed, and so these demons can't mess with them. So, but only those men who do not have the seal of God. So the only people that can go out and sting are the people who don't have the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were not given authority. So it doesn't say anything about people that have the mark of the beast on their forehead, right? It doesn't say anything about having the mark of the beast on their hand. It doesn't say anything about leave the two witnesses alone. Doesn't say anything about leaving the Jewish nation alone. Doesn't say anything about the 10 kings. Doesn't say anything about this little horn. It doesn't say anything about that, right? I don't think that's established yet. Or it may be formulating right now. And again, some people say the judgment of the thirds, that maybe God is judging the Americas, and the oceans around America. That's all been judged, and now the world is like, the poor people in America. Oh well. And now we're focusing on Israel and Jerusalem and the Jewish nations and the nations around it that's going to come back and try to destroy them. That the Antichrist is going to use, right? Some people believe that. I don't know. So anyways, back to chapter 9. Those men were given authority. And they were not given authority to kill them, but to torment. So they can't kill them, but they're going to torment them for 5 months. So, and it says their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it strikes a man. And I don't know if you've ever been struck or stricken by a scorpion, stung by a scorpion. It is no fun. I'm telling you, it is no fun. It is brutal. But this we're going to see. This sting is going to, when they stung me, Still my little finger. And I think it was this one. And it literally was going up my arm, and I thought it was going to my heart, man. I was freaking out. my heart was going numb, and my finger, it was probably numb, and I still felt the effects of that sting for at least a month after. Well, these guys, they're going to be tormented as a scorpion when it strikes a man. It says, in those days, men, I mean, it's going to be so bad. It says, in those days, men will seek death and will not find it. Well, is that the real Walking Dead right there? People, they're trying to kill themselves, but they can't die. I don't know what that means. But the people that are alive during this time, they're not going to know exactly what it means. So I don't know. People are like trying to kill themselves, and they're still alive. I don't know. It can't be like they're blowing their head off, but they're still alive. It can't be that. So something's going to take place where they can't kill themselves. They want to, but they can't. Maybe people at this point, there's the 666 pill that makes everybody happy. I mean, they're all trying to drown themselves in pills. But whatever it is, they can't kill themselves. So they will desire to die, and death will flee from them. The shape of the locusts was like horses prepared for battle. On their heads were crowns of something like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. They weren't faces of men; they was like the faces of men. There was something on their head that was like gold, and so people, trying to inject the time that they live in and explain what's going on here. And again, like I said, Hal Lindsey, back in the 70s with this late Great Planet Earth, I think he was teaching this was like the helicopters from Vietnam, and they painted the faces and the blades with the hair of the woman. No, I think it's a literal locust, and they have something on their head. It's like gold, and their faces are like a man. They're not a man, but they're like a man. They had hair like a woman's hair, and their teeth were like lion's teeth. So this is definitely a vicious demon beast. Beast is a demon. This locust demon. These locust demon. They're locusts. Whatever. They're like dogs, or if they're like men, or if they're the size of a locust. I don't know. It doesn't say actually how big they are. They had hair, so they had lions, so they had these teeth like a lion, hair like a woman. They had breastplates like the breastplates of iron, so something their chest, or I don't know if it's the actual blood, if they have like this natural like Iron Man kind of thing, or if it's just they actually have like a breastplate on. I don't know. The sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots with many horses running like into battle. And I think Hal Lindsey would be like, "That's the blade, the helicopter, the ghetto birds up there." You got that wrong, right? So they had tails like a scorpion, and there were stings in their tails. Their power was to hurt men for 5 months, and they had king over them. So I know Mr. always teaches, I think it's in a proverb that talks about the locusts have no king. And he says that God put that in, so you figure out what's going on, the pieces puzzle together, that God put that there to let us know that locusts does not have kings, but these locusts, they have a king over them. It's the angel of the bottomless pit. Whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in the Greek he has a name Apollyon. So I know people have translated that, and I've stole that knowledge. That literally means the destroyer. So this angel of the bottomless pit, I don't know if it's the angel comes down and unlocks it, but I think there's an angel down there over these demons, and he's in the bottomless pit right now, being held for this point in time purpose right here, to be released. He's going to be released, and this demon's going to come out, sting men. I mean, how many demons is that to go worldwide and sting men? Unless the third of the world's gone, and now we're just like Russia, China, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Sudan, Italy, Germany, Britain. I don't know if it's the whole world, but imagine how many demon locusts got to go out to be able to sting all the men on the entire planet. That's a lot, right? And it doesn't. When they're done, it doesn't say where they go. Do they go back in the bottomless pit and hang out? Are they up there for like 5 months, and then they go hide again, like a locust would, or are they still amongst men hanging out on the trees watching like, I can't wait to sting you again. I don't know. But the spiritual realm is definitely open up, right? And mankind knows that there's a spiritual realm. There is this demon horde. I don't think they're going to know it's demons or not. So he says, tells you the name of this bottomless, the guy in the bottomless pit, and it says, one woe is past. Behold, still 2 more woes are coming after these things. So all you have these trumpets. He says there's going to be 3 woes coming. So from this point, there's this first woe, because I think because the first 2 woes is over a time span. There's a long time span in there. Again, people trying to fit it in 7 years. I'm saying, so you got this going on too. All these things going on. So like when he judged, and I didn't say it when on the 7th seal. I didn't say it, but it said that there was 4 angels, the 4 corners. And so it said the wind not blow on the earth, the sea, and any tree. Over here, the 4 angels over here is actually the 4 angels of the 4 trumpets, because you see that hail and fire followed, mingled with blood, and it's thrown to the earth, and then burned up the green grass. The second one was on the sea, and the third of the living creatures died. And then the third angel was on the rivers, and then the 4th angel was the sun, the moon, the stars was struck. So I think of the 4 angels over in 7 was the 4 angels over here. And he said there's 3 more woes that happened. So we just had 1 woe happen. That was a minimum 5 months. People trying to teach this all takes place in 7 years. Again, go back and watch my other videos. I mean, how many years? We're way past 7 years already. We're only on this first woe. So there's nothing about anything about kingdoms and men rising up and temple being rebuilt and the Jewish people tearing down their walls, peace on earth. Nothing about, taking seals and buying and selling. Nothing about Babylon. I mean, nothing, right? All this stuff is supposed to. So people teach it happens in 7 years. The 10 kings they take place at the beginning, probably before the 7 years. They're being formulated. When we get there, I believe the 10 kings is this angelic realm, this fallen angels, that come down, and there's probably 10 groups of them, 10 different kind of fallen angels, and they're all given power for a little bit. They don't have any land yet. They're given power by by Satan, right? And his half-breed son he's gonna give him his power. We'll get there when we get there. So, anyways, oh wait. Oh, there's more in chapter 9. Oh, we're gonna stop there. So we'll stop at the first woe, okay? There you go. So I guess I'll divide chapter 9 into two teachings. All right, so there you go. That was the 5th seal. See, these demon locusts going to go around and sting men for 5 months. They're going to wish they could die, but they can't die. That's taking place in the future, And some people teaching you that the bride is going to experience this. I don't get it. They don't understand the church, and they don't understand what this is about. This is about the Jews, the Jewish nation, bringing the Jews back into their land, and God fulfilling His promises to His people. And there was no conditions on that either. But He's always using men, and He's always using His enemies to bring them back into repentance. And right now they're going back into the nation in unbelief. And the book of Revelations to bring them into belief. That's the point of it. The church is gone. And you're going to bring them into belief. And again, read the scriptures daily to find out of what everybody's teaching you. There are a lot of people out there deceiving you, teaching. I don't even think they use scripture. Anyways. So, all right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys back here on Friday on Misfit Island.